Please note the meeting is being audio recorded. My name is Phoebe Evans-Latosha, Chair of the Commission, and I will be running tonight's meeting. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by our county councilperson or county executive and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. The LPC reviews and approves nominations to the Baltimore County Preliminary Landmarks List, comments on National Register nominations, reviews all exterior alterations within county historic districts, and is charged with evaluating Baltimore County historic tax credit applications. Would the commissioners please introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen.
Lily isn't here.
Okay.
Oh, Chris Weston, District 2.
Wendy?
There it is. Okay. Wendy McIver, District 3.
Ted.
He is not on yet.
Okay, then Daniel?
He just logged on.
District 5.
John Holman, District 6.
So I'm
Jane-
Phoebe. Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead. I wasn't. Do I need to introduce myself again, or am I good?
You're good.
Good.
Okay, Jamie
Jamie.
Ferguson, executive appointment.
Scott. Ed Horde, executive appointment.
Vince.
It's not here.
Okay, Tom.
You're muted, Tom.
Thank you. Tom Liebel, executive appointment.
And then Chris Parts.
He is not on yet.
Yeah, he'll be joining us a little later. He's finishing up a meeting in Annapolis.
Okay.
But Ted is here now.
Hi there. Hopefully you can hear me. Ted McCadden representing District 4.
Okay, thank you. Now, if we could please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the Republic for which it stands,
One
one
nation.
nation,
Under God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty
and justice for all. Okay. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to a specific application or proposal submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that the discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and we review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other personally and professionally. Would staff please provide us with our virtual meeting reminders?
Yes, for offering comments, members of the public, we do ask them to register in advance with staff if they'd like to speak at the meeting, and they also have a opportunity to submit written testimony. And when we receive that, we do send that out to the commissioners ahead of the meeting. Also, just a reminder that the information that's presented in this PowerPoint, this presentation is just a summary of the information that the information of and all the applications that were submitted. A packet, the full packet is sent to the commissioners 1 week prior to the meeting in order for them to review before coming into the meeting. So again, this is just a summary and overview to keep the meeting moving in an organized manner.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. So staff, are there any changes to the approved, the preliminary agenda?
No changes.
Okay. There are no changes. Then I think we move on to the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. So if we could have a voice vote on the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, great. The minutes have passed. Okay, so next we are moving to the consent agenda items. We have one item. Staff, if you could read the staff recommendations for that.
Thanks, Phoebe. So this is for the Women's Club of Glendon property at 4627 Butler Road in Glendon, County Council District Number 4. This is a contributing resource within the Glendon County Historic District, and the applicants have requested the in-kind asphalt roof replacement and ramp fascia repairs. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 3 Roofs, and Chapter 5 Porches and Steps, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Okay, would anyone present wish to speak against the approval of the item, or would any member of the commission wish to have a discussion of the item before we vote? If not, then I will accept a single motion for the approval of the item as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, no second was needed. So if we could have is this one a voice vote or a roll call vote?
Yeah, we'll do roll call.
Okay.
Yeah, can we have Chris Weston, please?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Scott? Let's see.
Doc, you're muted. Scott?
Scott, I'll come back to you. Tom, please.
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chris Parts?
Yes.
And do we have Scott? Can we have Phoebe, please?
Yes.
Okay, and we have a quorum, so the motion carries.
Okay, so next we are moving on to item 4, the Reed property at 1716 Magnolia Avenue in Hillthorpe. If staff could present.
Great, thank you. This is a contributing resource in the Relay County Historic District, and the applicants have requested the construction of a semi-in-ground pool. So the property at 1716 Magnolia Avenue consists of 2 parcels located at Magnolia Ave and Tulip Ave. Parcel 1, which contains the residence that faces towards Magnolia Avenue, and Parcel 2 is an adjacent plot that serves as the property's rear and side yards along Tulip Ave. The total combined size is a little over 3/4 of an acre. The applicant requests to install an 18 by 34 foot semi-in-ground pool on parcel 2. The location is set back from the Tulip Lane property line by 45 feet and 28 feet from the rear property line, 70 feet from the south property line, and about 50 feet from the house. The pool will be semi-in-ground with side exposures from 8 inches to 32 inches to fit where the natural grade of the site. The application mentions a paver transition and stone covering. There is an existing landscaping along Tulip Avenue that will help buffer views of the pool. And several pools are present within the district, with the nearest existing pool just down the road at 5011 Tulip Ave, which is also on a corner lot. Staff feels that given the existing landscaping, location, and size of the property as a whole, that the pool will be minimally visible from Tulip Ave. In addition, there's existing landscaping along the rear property line and fencing on the side property line that will further buffer views from the neighboring property. Additionally, the proposed use of stone and black aluminum fencing has an appropriate aesthetic. So staff's recommendation is to determine if the proposal uses appropriate materials for the home and historic district, is appropriate located, and has minimal visual impact to the historic district, and then to approve, deny, or modify accordingly. Authority for action, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 7, Fences and Landscapes, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you. Is the applicant present, and would they like to add anything to what the staff presented?
Yes, I do believe we have Miss Reed. Hi, Miss Reed.
Yes.
You can address the commission if you have anything to add, and they may have some questions.
No, that was quite comprehensive. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take a questions if there are any.
Okay, does the commission have any clarifying questions for the applicant?
I have one question. By looking at this, I don't have any idea how big a patio you're doing, where it's located with regard to the pool. How are there steps? Are there walls? So I'm okay with the pool in the rear yard. The materials sound good, but I have no idea how it's going to be constructed. And how
Okay.
it relates to the house and how it relates to the, I mean, I see there's buffers, landscape buffers, it appears, around the perimeter, but I don't know how those work. So I don't have enough information to really judge whether this is appropriate or not.
Okay, I'll see if I can help you with that. If you can see the picture that's on the screen where you can see where the pool would be located in the backyard. To the upper right is an existing patio, which there'll be a transition using the same pavers to go from that existing patio to go around the pool about 4 feet, which shows you where the fence perimeter line is. So right there, yeah, that's a good view. So there'll be a transition from that patio using the same paver materials over to the pool and around the pool. And if you look to the right of that picture, you can see some stone as well that along the patio walls, and that will additionally be used to cover the part of the pool that will be above ground. This is a semi-in-ground pool that works with the slope of the property so that you don't have to do a lot of disturbing of the existing ground and a lot of digging, that you would otherwise have to do to create a level area. And then if you go to the other picture of just an example of the pool itself, you can see how in this picture with the exposed area that stone has put in to blend into the area. This is not exactly the way this would look. This is just to give you an example of what we mean by semi-in-ground pool and how you aesthetically create, the exterior that would otherwise be like an aluminum structure that you see with many of these above ground pools that you cover it so it blends in with all the other hardscaping that's in the yard. Does that help?
I see where you're going. I think it's a good direction, but I really don't have enough, and I can't see how this works with the existing patio.
Okay.
Is a drawing to the right
Yes.
the existing patio?
Yes, you can see the existing patio, and the drawing on the right is this I guess I can't use an arrow, is you see the pool, that's the oval there in the center, and the existing patio is where the cursor is currently. And so that existing patio, there'll be an area that comes from the walkway there up till where the steps of the pool are, which is the little square that's off of the oval. And then 4 feet around the pool will also be those pavers. So it'll all blend together really very, very nicely. We take very good care of our property, and we want it to look really, beautiful and be aesthetically pleasing in the neighborhood. So it will be done very well.
I don't have, I'm an architect. I need a drawing to sort of show me how you're doing. If everyone else is okay and can picture this in their minds, I can't picture it this drawing you have here. The photograph doesn't, I don't have enough information. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, this is the drawing from the contractor. This is the way, it's a licensed contractor out of Reisterstown. They do many of these. If you go back up to the overview that shows the pool, that's probably the best top down view.
It's it's the 34-foot long pool.
Yes, by 18. And it's oval. You can see it there in the picture.
I see the picture, but if that picture is 34 feet from one end to, for the length of the pool, your house it just doesn't look like it's at all to scale.
Well, it's
the
not
house.
it's certainly not to scale, sir. You can, I'm a homeowner, not a graphic. I did the best I could using Word and Google Earth and all to try to give you a visual. But you can see the paved walkway there and the patio and how that will be extended to go around the pool. And it's quite a distance from the house. It's actually on a separate parcel, and you can see all the trees and landscaping that we have, and they're quite tall as well.
I'm comfortable with the expanded explanation, and I make a motion that we approve it.
And John, if I could comment, I'm just wondering if it might be possible to get a little bit more detail from the contractor showing the connection and walk around the pool there. And that doesn't need to necessarily mean another meeting, but that's something that could be reviewed either with staff or a small group, just to confirm what we're seeing there and where that grade change happens.
I'll amend my motion and say, I recommend that we approve it with a more detailed drawing submitted to the staff for their review.
Are you asking for a site plan? Do you want to specify that that's?
Yes, a site plan that shows the extent of the paving, a scaled site plan that shows the extent of the paving.
John, are you comfortable amending your motion to require a site plan?
Yes, I'm sorry I didn't say site plan rather than just a more detailed drawing, but yes.
For a site plan, that would mean meet the boundaries, the house located, and the relationship of the pool to the house and how the paving works. Is that correct, Chris? That's what you're looking for?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, staff is clear on that and the owner is clear on that. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we have a motion to.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. That was Vince.
Yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then let's have a roll call vote.
All right, thank you. We have Chris Weston, please.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Scott. Sorry, Scott, we're having some trouble with your speaker. Move on to Tom, please.
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please. Great, thank you.
Okay, so we are ready to move on to item number 5, the Carnival property at 800 Francis Avenue. If staff could provide the background on this this case.
Great, thank you. So the property is a non-contributing resource within the Relay County Historic District, and the applicant has requested the construction of a 10 by 24-foot shed roof over the existing rear open deck. The property at 800 Francis Ave is a one-story Ranger dwelling within the Relay County Historic District and is considered a non-contributing resource. The majority of the neighboring properties are all non-contributing resources. There is one contributing resource located across the street at South Rolling Road. The applicant is requesting to construct an attached shed roof measuring 10 by 24 feet off of the rear of the house to cover an existing low deck. It will have 3 6-inch by 6-inch pressure treated posts spaced 10 feet apart. The roof will have a 3 to 12 slope and connect to the main house roof with 2 by 12-inch ledger. A 2-foot knee wall will support the roof at the end wall of the main house. The roof will then extend 8 feet over the existing deck and will be covered with asphalt shingles. A gutter system will be installed. Staff had some general concerns over the connection between the right side of the roof structure and the small rear bump out cross gable on the main house. From the drawing submitted, it is not clear how they will connect or if they will connect at all. The connection or lack of one could cause potential water issues. Staff generally does not have any issues with this alteration and recommends that the commission discuss and review the request and determine if it meets our guidelines, then approve, modify, or deny accordingly. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 6, New Construction Addition and Non-Contributing Resources, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you. Is the applicant or homeowner present, and would they like to?
Sure, we have the contractor online, Mr. Scott Chatton. I have you unmuted.
This is Scott Chatton.
Great, thank you.
Would you like to address any of the what staff has presented, particularly the issue related to the connection?
Sure. Actually, my drawing is a little bit inaccurate in that we would actually tie into the opposite slope with a new valley attached to the roof we are going to create. So the water runoff will come to a new downspout.
And do you have drawings that you can submit for that?
What you have with you is all that I've got. This is like, we had planned to do it this way, but actually the drawing did not reflect. So I can resubmit a drawing to show the added roof line to meet the gable roof line, if you wish.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
That's actually how we were going to construct it, but it got overlooked in the drawing.
Yeah, just generally speaking, it is good to have accurate drawings so that we
Sure.
have a clear understanding of what it is that we are reviewing and deciding whether to approve or not approve.
So I will resubmit the updated drawing to show that, reflect what we just discussed.
Okay.
I would also ask that you draw an elevation that shows the new addition, the roof that you're putting over the porch and how it's tying in so we can see how it looks with the existing house.
You want an elevation, okay?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful and staff could review that and just call out the materials that you're using on the trim pieces of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so the staff can see if it's meeting our standards.
No problem.
Do any other commissioners have any clarifying questions?
Is it possible to wrap the pressure treated lumber with maybe PVC material or use a load bearing PVC column in lieu of the pressure treated? It's just, I feel it's going to look a little unfinished, juxtaposed versus the house, which is very elegant
I
house.
actually agree with your decision. I was not the salesman on this particular project. I was kind of like just asked to pull the permit. And so, yes, I will definitely suggest the upgrade. And actually, we will specify the upgrade to vinyl clad post and actually aluminum covered trim on the rakes and fascia.
Okay.
And then I just have one question, if I may. It looks like from that photo at the rear that new valley and the overlay of the roof might conflict with one of the existing solar panels there, if that valley is modified.
I'm trying to see what you're seeing. The
I think you're right, Chris.
That bottom solar panel there looks like that might conflict with with a new valley if that's extended out there.
let me.
That's a good reason to do some accurate drawings that would solve some problems that you're going to meet, and you can solve them before you start building.
Yeah, I'm a little remiss here. We actually designed it. This has been such a long time. This has been months, and it's been a little foggy on me. Here, I actually drew it this way, square, because of that issue. We already had looked at that and said we will set it just a little bit off of that break. I mean, off of the gable end to avoid conflict. That's where it comes from. That's okay. Now I'm remembering. I'm sorry.
I would ask staff if they're comfortable reviewing when they actually see drawings. Are you okay with that?
Yes, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, but there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to be worked out here, I think. And I think how water keeps off of the roof. It's not really our problem as the historic commission, but it's maybe the owner's problem later on, and by way of that, the contractors.
Okay, if I can make comment.
Mm-hmm.
The square designed roof was actually, like I said, removed to the right of the gable because of the clearance issues. So the drawing is actually accurate as to what we will build, and to give that gable end clearance and not interfere. So that's, I'm sorry that, it's been a while since this drawing was done, and I forgot exactly why we did what we did, but there it is. We are.
Yeah. So there would be a gap basically between where that where your new roof would be and where that gable ends.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think, yeah, as Ed had mentioned, I think if you can kind of define that, provide a new drawing, define what that gap is, just so that it's clear, if the valley, I think, is extending down and doesn't conflict with the new slope and all, then it's probably reasonable to work with that.
And then just the trim level of putting vinyl post sleeves on and covering the soffit, the rake board and fascia, and put up the gutter. Yes.
So we do not yet have a motion. It seems like the choices are whether we approve this with some conditions regarding, resubmitting drawings to staff, or whether we decide that we will not approve it today and let the applicant resubmit drawings and have it come before the full board at the next meeting.
I would prefer to see it come back to us, but.
Is that a motion, Ed, that you would like to make?
I can make that motion.
Okay.
I move that we ask the contractor or the owner to come back with drawings that show what they're actually building and show if there's going to be a gap between the bump out and the gable and the new roof, how dimension that, show the trim pieces, show how it's going to be constructed. And then we can look at it at our next meeting.
So is that a motion to not approve the
Yes.
application as submitted?
Yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion or a second?
A second.
Okay. We ready for a vote then? So a vote in this case, yes, would mean that we are not approving this application and asking that the applicant resubmit with more detailed drawings and specifications.
Thanks, Phoebe. Can we please have Chris Weston?
Yes.
Okay, Dan?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Scott?
Scott, you can just type your vote in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have Tom, please.
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Chris Parts?
Yes.
Vince?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Great, thank you. And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Okay, and we did receive Scott's affirmative vote.
Yes. He signed off for a second to see if and so we'll sign back on to see if his audio gets fixed or his microphone.
Okay, so if the applicant could just follow up with staff regarding the requirements for resubmitting the drawings for the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Chatton. Thank you.
When is the next meeting?
March 13th, and I believe the submission deadline is February 27th. Caitlin, you correct me on that?
Yes, the 27th is the submission deadline.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so thank you. So we're ready to move on to agenda item number 6, the ball dance property. If staff could present the application.
Thank you, Phoebe. So the Baldanza property at 219 Melochthon Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants are proposing a rear addition. The property is a 2.5-story masonry structure constructed in 1875 in the Second Empire style. The home originally served as a hotel for Lutherville's summer guests and contained a rear greenhouse, which the applicant notes was used to grow flowers for the hotel. No historic photos have been submitted, and the original greenhouse was enclosed between 1930 to 1940 for use as a summer kitchen, with a later screen porch addition. The existing rear addition eventually was updated with modern kitchen, full bathroom, laundry area, and screen porch. The lower level was also modified by the previous owner to serve as a garage/storage area. The applicant is requesting to demolish the existing addition that roughly measures 12 by 17 feet and the 12 by 12 foot screened-in porch, and build a new 1.5-story addition measuring 27.5 by 32 feet with a height of 27 feet. The basement level will contain a garage, and the upper story will include a kitchen, dining/living area, bathroom, and laundry room. It will be designed in the style of a historic orangery. Demolition will include removing existing concrete slab, walls, partitions, millwork, roofing, footings, etc. as required for the new work, including 2 original windows and shutters. Work for the addition will include pouring a new foundation with appropriate footings. The driveway area will also be prepped for a new extension from existing. The addition will have a hip roof style covered with a 40-year architectural shingles, no standing seam metal as indicated in the site plan. Staff would like to note that the plans will need to match the written description and that they need to match what is approved by the LPC when submitted for building permits. A small hyphen will connect the addition to the main house using the existing door opening to provide access to the main house. The hyphen will have a 3 by 5 foot hip skylight. 2 original openings will be removed to accommodate the expanded footprint and roof height. 1 window opening to be infilled on the interior of the main into a built-in shelving, and the other will be removed and infilled with stone to match the exterior. Staff would like the commission to ask if the owners will store the removed windows. They can also be used elsewhere if needed. The exterior will be clad in AZEK composite board and trim with crown fascia. A total of 18 Pella Lifestyle clad wooden casement windows will be installed. The windows will be organized in pairs topped with panels. Between each pair of windows is a composite round column. The south elevation will have a series of cast concrete steps that lead to a portico on the glazed double leaf entry with 2 side lights. The basement level will be covered with stucco and contain a 2-vehicle garage space that extends approximately 4 feet below grade. The garage will have a series of 3 Clopay Coachman carriage-style garage doors and a single lead entry on the west elevation. Staff would like to note that some details on the plans do not match the narrative description in the application. The plans should match what the final design will look like. Despite the inconsistencies with the drawings, the addition is appropriately located on the rear and will not be highly visible from the public right-of-way. The size is also compatible with the main house. While staff appreciates the thought going into the design, it feels a little out of place with the character of the main house and does not fit aesthetically. Simplifying some of the design elements may help. Staff asks the commission to discuss the design of the addition and determine if it is compatible to the main house. In addition, staff asks the commission to discuss the AZEK composite material being used instead of a hardy board or similar material. So staff's recommendations, again, are to review the proposal and determine if the addition meets our design guidelines, in particular with the overall design and material choice, and to approve, modify, or deny as necessary, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 2, Windows and Doors, Chapter 6, New Construction Addition and Non-Contributing Structures, County Code Section 32-7-405. And we do have the property owner with us tonight. Miss Valdonza, I have you unmuted if there's anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, the commission is saying the design does not look appropriate aesthetically? Is that what I just heard?
Staff report.
So what does
Yeah,
that
but
mean?
the commission hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, so what does that mean then? That like the
So at this point, if you have any, comments to clarify or add to what staff presented,
well, okay, yeah, I guess. So we spent like 2 years designing this addition, and the whole time we designed it, we tried to follow the guidelines, and we were trying to make it not look like our house because that's seems to be a focus that it shouldn't look like the current structure. So we took into consideration the front porch, like the columns on the front porch, and tried to match that to the back, and then the history of the addition being a greenhouse previously, and sort of added the extra windows sort of for that look to make it kind of, I don't know. So the front porch and the back porch are sort of similar styles. So that was, that's how we designed it. And it was, like I said, a 2-year process with many, many revisions going back to the, basically back to the book and looking things up and making changes that way. So, so I guess that was, that's concerning that you're saying that aesthetically it doesn't look suitable. Because I don't know.
I think your explanation is helpful.
Okay. And we chose composite materials because part of the, in the design guidelines, it did say composite materials are okay for additions and new construction. So we did choose that. And it's on the rear of the home. So again, that was brought up. It's not, super visible from the street. If you go to the right angle, you might see it, but overall, it's not too visible. And we also we shared our plans with the neighbors on both sides and across, and I think that they were sending in testimony saying that they reviewed the plans and were in agreement that it was, they were okay with it. So
We'll get to the public testimony at
Yeah.
further in the meeting.
Okay, but yeah, I guess that's all. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yeah. Thank you. That
Sorry.
was my next question. It was if the commissioners could ask clarifying questions.
I think just the one question is that I just wanted to confirm that it's asphalt shingles then for the roof instead of the standing seam metal that's shown on the drawings.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I don't know if this is the right time to make the comment. The way I kind of think about that is you don't want to create a false sense of history with what you're building on, where it looks like it was part of the original building. But
Right.
As far as aesthetically pleasing, it's like if you have a historic home and then you put a circus tent out back. It's
Right.
completely different architecturally and does not fit in your neighborhood. So just on the extreme end, this is nowhere near that.
Right.
It looks pretty and all that, but
Right.
you don't want it to look like it's original with the house or create a false sense of history where somebody says, oh, this was original with the house driving by it.
Right.
But it also shouldn't have all these flamboyant contemporary aspects to it where it misplaces it from the surroundings of it either. So it's kind of fitting in that middle.
Right. Right.
Well, I have a comment. I think that it's refreshing to have actual drawings on this submission. So I think we can actually see what they're doing, which is very nice because a lot of others could talk about things, but we have no idea what it really is going to look at. I think their concepts are pretty good, and it feels okay to me. It's in the back, and I think it's feels in keeping with the trim work looks similar to the trim above, but it's still new enough, and I think I'm okay with it, so I would approve it. But
Do any
I'll
other
wait and hear what everyone else says.
commissioners have any further questions about materials or any inconsistencies between the drawings and the what was presented?
I guess I'll just say the one thing that I was thinking is, I like the drawing with the standing seam metal roof, but if it's going to be an asphalt shingle, you're going to see that a little bit more, and I would possibly be inclined at looking at lowering the slope of the roof a little bit so you see that less. I mean, you'll be down at ground level and would be looking up at it, but if you lowered a little bit, you wouldn't see so much of that.
Staff had raised some concerns about the windows, whether they are 2x2 casement and whether the other windows that are being removed would be stored. If the applicant could speak to those questions.
So the two windows that will be covered, the one's already covered with the existing structure in the basement. So the other one that would be covered is the one just to the left of the porch in the picture. And the addition would just go right over top of that, and we're not going to do anything with the window. It's not going to get removed. We'll probably remove the shutters and store those, but we would just put shelving in between it, or maybe even just leave it as it is. I mean, I've seen additions where the old windows are there, and that's just the way it is. It adds to the character. So it's not going to be taken out. Not that window. That one's not being touched because there's a transition into the addition with a flat roof.
Okay, it does say on your plans that it's being removed and infilled.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that one's not getting removed. None of them are getting removed, but the one, if you go to the picture to the right where the stone house is, that one is going to be covered. And then there's one below that, directly below that, that's already covered. The one above, yeah, that's not getting, the first one you circled's not getting touched. That must be a mistake in the plans.
So
I think the drawings are correct. The hyphen deals with that window. The roof there is below that window.
Mm-hmm.
It's the roof window that's circled that's getting covered.
Yes.
Yeah, but this one on the plans, the notation,
I can't
Says
even see what that says, but
it says this one's being removed and infilled with stone that matches.
no, definitely not. That's like lights my stairwell going into my house. That's definitely not getting infilled with stone.
I had a question.
I don't know
We
where
need to
that.
make sure that the plans are updated to reflect that.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
does say that.
Okay.
Demolished existing window infilled with stone to match.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vince.
My question, the height of that roof or the pitch or whatever, you're saying that that window that was being circled, that's not being removed?
That's not being removed.
Show the side elevation. There's a
Yeah,
flat
that's
piece
what
of roof in front of that, Vince, which allows that window to take light into the house.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that was
There's flat on the
important.
left.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that was important to not cover that up because that was a bit of an issue when we were doing the design. So
Because I was trying to get an idea when you said that was providing light into the stairwell, I believe you said.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see it.
Caitlin, is it possible to pull up the Lutherville Historic Preservation Office comments?
We're not there yet in
Oh,
the agenda.
sorry.
And I guess I'll mention it, not that it's in our purview, but the maintenance of that little hyphen with the skylight in it is likely a concern for you as an owner.
That's been brought up. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's, yeah,
Okay.
that's been brought up. So
Yeah.
we're prepared for that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just because it was in as far as question stuff, was there any reason between the Azek composite versus like a hardy board? Is there any rationale that you guys were going, or was it just that lasts longer, moisture, anything like that?
Yeah, the AZAC, that's just what our contractor had recommended, and the builder. Yeah.
It seems to me that the concept is to have large, smooth panels instead of a clapboard look.
Right. So sort of to like, if I don't know if you can see the front porch, sort of more of a porch look instead of having siding. To the front, we have like it's windows and it's sort of not windows, screens, but kind of to mimic that, like a more of an open rather than closed up with wood. So or to make it look more like a porch. I guess if it had clapboard, it would be more of a change the look of it.
Are there any additional questions from the commissioner related to, the materials presented, or if not, we can, staff, is there any written testimony that was submitted? Or any members of the public who would wish to speak on the application?
Jessica, you're muted if you're trying to speak.
Oh, no, it could just say that we did have several letters submitted in support of the project and one letter in opposition that was uploaded to the SharePoint site, and no registered speakers.
Okay, commissioners, I would open it up for discussion, including any of the submitted testimony.
For the opposition letter, I was just going to ask, there's nothing being done with the driveway yet, correct? Everything is just dealing with the structure.
Yes,
being-
nothing being done with the driveway. Right now, there's an asphalt apron outside the existing garage, and that will stay. And it's the rest of the driveway is gravel and grass, and that's going to just stay for now. And if we do
Yeah.
any changes, we'll, submit for that later.
Yeah, I think everything else was addressed by, I saw that in the letter, just trying to clarify that for, them.
Okay, is there any commissioner want to entertain a motion, or if there's no further discussion?
I just want to say that it seems like the local commission is opposed to this, and I want to make sure that they're satisfied prior to approving it. I don't think that we should overrule the local preservation commission.
Can I say something about that? The local preservation commission is not recognized by our community association, and that's not really a requirement. I spoke with the president of the LCA, and we're not required to go through them for any part of the application process. So the testimony that they submit is just like any other neighbor would submit.
Yeah, Chris, so all of our historic districts that have local groups, property owners are not required to go through them before coming to us. They're more of their resource. They can if they want to. They're a resource there to help property owners with the process or with tax credit applications if they have questions, but they're not required to go before them to get a review or approval.
Okay,
Let's
thank you for
make sure
clarifying
we're
that.
clear on the distinction. One is the Lutherville Community Association more, and then there's a separate self-appointed group that is historic preservation of the community, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And so the Lutherville Historic Advisory Committee is not a subset of the Lutherville Community Association. It is, again, a separate.
We don't really know exactly who they are. It's not an incorporation. I don't think that they're a part of the Baltimore County Landmarks. I think it was just sort of a person that's self-appointed in the neighborhood that's done that. But again, it's not recognized by our community association as part of the process for getting permits.
And just for my own personal, it does seem like you addressed, or these are the other concerns are addressed. That's why I asked about the driveway. I kind of see where I believe it was Tom that mentioned that everything, it looks good in my opinion, just personally, with everything. So it most seems addressed.
Are you wanting to make a motion, keeping in mind some of the discussion points that we clarified?
I can make a motion to approve as long as all the staff requests were made where the narrative and the materials matched up with all of the drawings and specs that were on there. I'd make a motion to approve under the circumstances that everything matched up with what was stated.
With the drawings, you mean?
With the drawings and the corrections submitted about that window.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
I'd probably amend just to confirm the shingle on that, the shingle style and finish or color.
As opposed to the standing seam.
Yes, yeah, because I think the other materials are shown or submitted, and I think
You want an actual sample of the roofing?
an actual sample, a picture of the sample. I think that to make sure that that it looks compatible with everything else there.
Sounds good.
And Chris, to clarify, you're asking that would be submitted to staff.
Yes.
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 I'd amend my motion to consider that.
Okay, and then Ed, I believe you seconded. You
Yes.
agree? Okay. Wonderful. Are there any other discussion points? Hearing none, are we ready for a roll call vote?
Right, can we have Chris Weston, please?
Yes.
Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
We don't have Scott. Tom, please.
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And just you can follow up with staff regarding those changes. Okay.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll be in touch. All right, moving on to agenda item number 8. This is the Overbrook Farms LLC property at 13822 York Road in Sparks, County Council District number 3. This is final landmark number 368, Toll House, 15 Mile House and Setting. And the applicant requests the review of various ex post facto alterations, correction notice number CB 250032. The property is a circa 1790 1.5-story vernacular frame structure situated on a rubble foundation. It is clad in German siding with a standing seam gable roof. A small 1-story random rubble stone kitchen wing was constructed on the west elevation with a flat roof and a large stone chimney. There is a shed roof porch across its front. A rear concrete block 2-story addition was constructed in 1953. Preservation staff was contacted on January 15th, 2025, and informed of exterior work to the Toll House property, including the removal of clapboard siding on the facade. Staff directed the constituent to report the issue online, and we also formed our inspector. Staff was able to get in touch with the property owner, and the applicant has submitted a historic review application for various ex post facto alterations, including the removal of the original clapboard siding on the 1790 Toll House structure, window opening alterations and replacements on the rear concrete block addition, and has proposed various repairs and replacements to the Toll House and stone kitchen additions. Work item 1 for the siding. The existing German siding was removed from the front east elevation and disposed. Siding will be replaced in kind with new Dutch lap siding to match the existing. The remaining existing siding will be scraped, repaired where needed using wood filling techniques, and painted. Work item 2. Windows. The Toll House and Stone Kitchen addition contain a mix of window styles and materials. The application notes that they are all in poor condition. The frame block contains 2 windows on its north side elevation, 1 wood 2/2 sash window, and a 4/4 sash window. On the south elevation of the frame block is a 4/4 wood sash window. The front or east elevation of the stone block has has a single 6/6 wood sash window. No additional photos showing the condition or hardware of these wood windows were provided to help determine the age and if they are damaged beyond repair. Additionally, no window assessment was provided. The 4/4 and 2/2 window styles date are in the mid-19th to late 19th century, while the 6/6 styles date from the early 19th century or early 20th century. The application mentions a single non-historic casement and single 6-light picture window on the upper half-story floor loft, but no photos were submitted of those windows. The applicant requests to replace the existing 3 2/2 wood windows with sightline double hung 2/2 wood windows. Each window frame size will be customized to fit the existing opening. For work item 3, the standing seam roof and gutters, the applicant the existing standing seam metal roof will be recoated and painted. If the roof is found to be unsalvageable, the applicant requests to replace it in kind with a new standing seam roof. Additionally, new half-round gutters and downspouts will be installed. Work item number 4, doors. The applicant requests to replace the existing entry door on the stone portion of the structure with a 9-light wood door. The application noted that this replacement style is to match the existing or previous door. However, no images or information on the previous door were provided. Existing wood panel door and frame portion is to remain and be reconditioned. No other information about the type of repairs to the door were provided in the application or photo captions. Work item 5, window and door replacements on concrete block addition. Work to the 1950s concrete block addition included 2 window replacements and altering window openings as seen in the images provided by the applicant and from a photo from the 2002 Maryland inventory form and Google Street View photos. The previously existing windows were diamond pane casement windows on the 2nd story and sash windows on the 1st story. All windows were replaced on the concrete block addition. Staff's recommendation is that the LPC review the proposal and determine if it meets our guidelines, and to approve, modify, or deny as appropriate. Staff recommends the following conditions: that the wood surfaces be cleaned by the gentlest means possible, repair wood features using recognized wood preservation techniques such as patching with appropriate patching materials, piecing in, and consolidation methods. And to replace the replacement windows shall match the historic windows in size, profile, light, sash, and other component part configurations. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 2, Windows and Doors, Chapter 3, Roofs, Chapter 4, Exterior Walls and Foundations, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you. Is the applicant present, and would they like to add to what the staff presented?
Yes, Mr. Byrd, I have you unmuted.
I
You'd like
am
to
present.
address.
I am present. I am available for any comments. Long history in doing this. I've owned my own a well-known construction company in the area for 14 years. I've done probably no less than 50 historic restorations, mostly in Baltimore City and also in DC. I went to school for architecture, and I did an old school apprenticeship under a GC and a plumber. So I'm pretty well knowledgeable of this. I think that's one reason why I was able to articulate that. I thought that I had done the right process, but I did not, because I did get a permit issued, but then this had triggered it. But regardless, I am trying to preserve this building to the best of my ability now that I am the steward of it, and I've consolidated it with what my adjoining farm that I have there is, and it will be a home for my mother.
Okay, does the commission have any clarifying questions to follow up on the staff comment? And
I have, this is my thing, it's echoing, I'm sorry.
no, you're clear.
Okay. One of my primary concerns all along, which I spoke to Mr. Byrd about at length, was the foundation. Has that been stabilized?
Yes, to a certain level, not on the original toll house, the gabled toll house. The rear stone foundation is being worked on, or will be worked on. I stopped work on the exterior when I got notice of stopping. It will be worked on. Everything from the interior of the entire building has been completely stabilized.
So I believe the foundation is not a part of the application.
I must have omitted that or forgot about it. There is a small section of bulging foundation at the rear corner. Essentially why the original toll house leans is because, back then they didn't put the proper footers in. Also the fireplace that is in there was causing it to shift the entire building. I think that's one of the reasons why they put the 1954 edition on, was to help stabilize it. Once I was able to gut the interior and see the construction and what they were doing, it seems that they put that on almost to help stabilize that building from falling.
Well, what are you doing to stabilize it?
So everything that has been described so far, I think, without the omission of the foundation, when I patch and repair the bulging foundation in the, what is that, the northwest portion of the building, just in the toll house portion, I will be doing it in kind and with the same granite stone that is there, quarried stone.
Yeah, just a point of clarification, since that was not a part of this application, and so you would need to submit that to the LPC for approval so that we can assess what you're actually wanting to do.
Not a
Because
problem.
I mean, the building is in danger, as Mr. Bird said, of, falling down. So,
No, it's not gonna move. It's not moving anymore. I mean, I don't think so, at least, because I mean, after I was able to access how the building was constructed with the multiple additions and things like that, I feel pretty safe that it is not moving anywhere. But I do want to attend to it.
yes, because it must be stabilized so the building remains, since it's a landmark building.
Yeah.
And
I also am going to submit an edit to or with that stone foundation on that separate one. I will submit something in regards to doing some stormwater management, because of when Broadmead bought all these houses to then put in the light. For any of those that don't know about it, there is very poor water management, especially close to this toll house. So I need to do something to mitigate any kind of major road runoff that it comes from any of these heavy storms.
that sounds like a good idea. Also, Mr. Bird, you said that you didn't know the procedure. I believe we had no fewer than 3 conversations about the procedure, at which I gave you the names and phone numbers of Jessica and Caitlin. I understand you spoke to them. They told you what you could do and what you couldn't do with, without submitting a plan before the commission. And you went ahead and did outside work without submitting a plan first. I'm very
Yeah,
disappointed.
like I said, I submitted for a permit. I selected everything that was going to be historic. I thought that would trigger the right things, and I would have to submit or I could submit the next set of things, and it did not. I was issued a permit. I paid for the permit. I thought that everything was okay because I disclosed everything on the Baltimore County permit. But then I found out, just because I am a well-known builder, and I actually found out through one of my other inspectors on another job that is not historic, that there was buzzing around the office on me. So I said, that's why I reached out and figured out that I needed to resubmit in a different way with LPC.
Hi, Mr.
I
Bird,
thought that I had done it right.
This is Jessica Brennick speaking. I just wanted to confirm that you did not receive a permit because we denied it back in December. But moving forward from that, we can discuss the actual work at hand. But you will need to apply for the permit, and our office will have to sign off on it to move forward with this work. So yeah, we can just move forward from that part of the discussion.
Okay, I can submit proof that I did get the issue of the permit, and the I paid for it. And then 2 days or 3 days later, historic preservation, it triggered, and I was not notified of it in the Baltimore County website, in our portal, for it. So, but I can submit that I was given that and I did pay for it.
In order to have the building permit go through the technical reviews. It has to be completed and paid for, otherwise it won't go to the technical review. So yes, you did pay for it, but after the technical reviews review it, we reviewed it and saw that you hadn't gotten approval by LPC, so we denied it to ask you to resubmit, and that's when we reached out and contacted you. So
Okay.
yes, you did pay for it, but it still has not
Yeah.
been issued for that
Yeah, because
particular
in a
permit.
normal I mean, this is abnormal for the projects that we're normally doing in Baltimore County. But so we, you know, usually the last thing you get after it goes through zoning and planning and everything is the you get issued the payment, and then that's when you get the permit. So that's different than what I normally am used to.
I have a question for staff.
Sure.
The
Oh, not me.
the 1952 block addition in the back, which by the way had some beautiful windows in it. And just that on the left photograph there. I'm wondering, is that listed as part of the landmark?
The landmark designation's on the entire structure.
So I
We
think,
review all, even though it was built later, we still review changes to that to make sure that those changes are, you know, in keeping with the structure, not
I think
arbitrary.
this building, can I
thing-
finish, please? This
Yeah.
building is a 72-year-old building. I think it's a simple building, but it has some striking windows in it. And I think windows are one of the primary things we look for in historic preservation. And I think these windows should be replicated and put back into the block infill that's been blocked out of closing up the window openings, I think is something you cannot do. I
There
think
were
that needs to
only
come back.
5 of those windows left, and everything else was completely changed into something or like a vinyl window or something like that. I am purposefully trying to make this addition because it is not 300 years old and it's only 70 years old. I am purposefully trying to make this look like it is not historic, so that it makes the historic part actually look historic. Just like very similar to all the architectural guidelines that London has, where all additions have to have a clear distinction that they are not historic, comparatively speaking, to the original property.
This is part of the landmark. It's a 70-year-old building. It has, I think, some distinctive windows in it. Others could disagree with me. I'd like to hear what the other members of the commission think, but I think this should be brought back. I think this is important. I think it's an important part of the history of the building and what went on there.
Do other commissioners have questions for the applicant?
I had just one question. Is there any record of those windows, the diamond type windows there? We can just see from that one photo.
In 2002, they were there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell from the photo if there's, what
There's
construction-
the photo
think
only
he's
shows
pulling them
4
out.
of the one. You can see 5 windows on the top floor in that scenario. So the 5th window on the very right hand side has got an air conditioning unit in it that was already had been removed. The one on the front facing of the building or facing York Road, that had been removed, and then they put like a garden window on that. The other side where the bedroom is, on the north side of the house, there was still one single gridded window, and then the other one had completely been removed for an air conditioning unit as well. So the place was in complete shambles. The last 2 owners did not take care of this place at all, but we're letting it completely go. So I'm just trying to, bring it back to life and take care of it.
Okay, any further questions or If not, then I will ask staff if there is any written testimony or if there are any members of the public who would wish to speak.
So our registration period closed at 2 p.m. today. It was open from the time the agenda was posted last Thursday to this, and we did not have any registered speakers.
Nor written testimony.
Nor written testimony. Okay, thank you. So is there any further discussion from the commission, or if not, we would entertain a motion?
I'm just trying to look over some of the pictures of the historic one because in 2012 it looks like those windows were there. Just in with what Ed was saying, I mean, I do agree. I'll put in there that I agree with Ed as far as this information goes. I mean, it is considered part. It's not a new build. We're not building something new. You have a building there that is considered historic and really falls under this as well. Just tossing it out there.
And this building is a very important building in the history of Baltimore County. It's, on the turnpike. It's one of the few toll houses left. And it really must be saved. And the foundation I am very worried about.
So Wendy, are you suggesting that we need more information, potentially a resubmission of this application to provide more details and include the full scope of the work?
Yes.
Okay. It seems like, we would have a couple choices here. One to approve with the conditions that the staff laid out regarding the wood surfaces, repairing the wood features by the, using patching and appropriate patching materials, using recognized wood preservation techniques, and the replacement windows matching the historic windows in size, profile, light, sash, and other component part configurations, meaning that that would be for the entire property. Or the other option would be to deny the motion or deny the application and ask that it be resubmitted with the fuller scope. So
I recommend that we deny the application.
I second it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, then let's have a roll call vote. So with the motion to deny, a yes would mean that we would be denying this application and ask that the applicant come back to us. And a no means that we would not deny the motion and we'd have to go back and make another motion.
Right. We have Chris Weston, please.
Yes.
Dan, please.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Do we have Scott with us? Wait. Tom, please.
Yes.
Ted.
Yes.
Wendy.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
Chris Parts.
Yes.
Vince.
Yes.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so next we're moving on to agenda item 9, the Dyer property. If staff could present this.
Thank you. Dyer property is located at 206 Malachman Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicant is requesting the ex post facto review of a patio installation. The applicant has installed a 24 by 20 foot stamped concrete patio that was installed off of the east side of the south elevation. The paver style is in Old English slate in the color coal light. Staff would like to note that the home and side patio installation are considerably set back from Lockman Ave. While the location of the patio is not ideal, with preference being rear or side yards, it appears to be low profile and is not readily visible from the public right-of-way. The stamped concrete material will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Staff asked the commission to determine if the material choice is compatible with the historic home and district. And staff recommendation is for the commission to determine if the material choice is compatible with the historic home and district, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 7, Fences and Landscapes, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant or homeowner present, and would they like to add anything to what the staff has presented?
I don't see the applicant online, but they can enter the chat if they do. But for now, we do not have Mr. Dyer online.
Okay, is there any written testimony that was submitted, or any members of the public who would wish to provide testimony?
We did not have any registered speakers, but we did have one written testimony in opposition of the project that was submitted to the commission and was posted on the SharePoint site.
Okay, thank you. So now I would open it up to the commission for discussion, considering the staff recommendations and the letter of testimony. Commissioners, do we have thoughts on this?
Just to refresh my memory, it's only the patio that we're reviewing and not the hot tub, right?
Yes, the hot tub is not included in this application.
But the hot tub has not been approved either, correct?
Correct.
So this patio is a stamped patio in the front yard that's already there now, essentially. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the downside is it's a stamped concrete rather than the bricks. I mean, just tossing out ideas here compared to what we would normally approve. That would be more ideal for the situation. But we're past that point.
Well, just as a reminder that even though this has already been installed, we did not approve it before it was installed, and so this is our opportunity to approve, to either approve or deny it, or ask that the applicant come back with greater details.
And we should be, if we approve it, it should be something we would have approved if
beforehand.
they came to us cold. So
precisely.
Yeah. So that's.
I have a question.
Yes, Vince.
I think it was stated that is it the patio that's not easily or readily visible from? Okay, so what on the picture on the right, what am I looking at there? Is that the pool?
That's an image of a hot tub, but there's a patio right there.
Okay, and the patio, what sits on the patio? Okay. Well,
it's kind of tying our hands without the submission of the hot tub.
I think they should come back with a hot tub. It's a big part. It's a very visible and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so if we feel like we do not have enough information, for example, a lack of a site plan, that there are missing components, we could, some options would be to, approve as is, or to deny it and ask that the applicant come back with more details.
Yes,
So is that a motion, Wendy?
Make a mo-
sure.
So if you could state your motion?
We need a plan with more details.
So are you motioning to deny the application and ask
Yes,
that the property owner provide greater details?
right. Come back with a full detailed description.
and include the hot tub.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's sitting on the patio, so has to be included.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Great. Any further discussion?
Just for clarity for the owner, it would be helpful maybe if we kind of confirm what we want to see. We want to see a full site plan. Is that right? I don't know if this came before us, if it had some extent of landscaping that concealed the patio, so you're not, it's hard to see from the road, but if there's a means of addressing that, not that that necessarily addresses the hot tub, but I don't know if others have thoughts, but I think that the site plan and any additional information in terms of the treatment at that, what you see from the street, I think would be helpful.
Maybe some better photos of the area.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think all of that can be communicated to the applicant by staff. Our motion here would be to deny it. And so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further comments before we go to the roll call vote?
All right, can we have Chris Weston, please?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tom? Ted?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes,
Ed?
Yes.
Chris Parks?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes, and to be clear, yes means no, right?
Correct.
That you're denying the
Yeah, okay.
approval.
All right,
Thank you, Vince. And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to our last item of discussion, the Zevros property at 12800 Keynes Road in Glen Arm, County Council District Number 3. This is final landmarks list number 358, the Mount Zion AME Church parsonage and setting. And the applicant requests Part 2 approval for various exterior repairs and replacements. For some background, the Mount Zion AME parsonage is located in the 11th election district in the Long Green area of Baltimore County on land that was once owned by the Kane family. The parsonage for Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal Church was constructed sometime early in the 20th century. The dwelling is vernacular in style and is representative of many vernacular rural buildings in Baltimore County. The structure has been vacant for several years. The applicant is proposing several repairs and in-kind replacements to the exterior of the structure. Work item 1, asphalt roof replacement. The applicant is seeking to replace the existing deteriorated asphalt roof. It will be repaired in kind with asphalt architectural shingles. Work item 2, front porch and step repairs. Applicant requests to reconstruct the existing front porch. The wood frame porch is supported by concrete block piers and support posts with a beadboard ceiling and a low pitch asphalt hipped roof. A low cedar shake railing encloses the porch area. The existing porch is in a deteriorated state and front stairs are rotted and collapsing. There are holes, missing boards, signs of pests and animals, and rotted wood. The work will include removing the existing porch framing, new concrete footers will be poured, and new framing will be installed to create a stable foundation. Ceiling and floorboards will be replaced as needed with wood panels, sanded and stained. The staff would like to note that the scope of work lacks some details, and these may be answered at the meeting by the property owner. Will you be removing the entire porch structure down to the ground and the roof? Will there be any work to the porch roof to replace the porch roof material? And what material is the replacement? Wood, pressure treated pine? any work to the porch railings, will the steps be rebuilt, and the type of porch floorboards. It appears that they were previously tongue and groove. For work item 3, the exterior doors, the application mentions that the current doors are hanging plywood and wishes to replace with period style doors. No information about what period style is provided. Google Street View imaging from August 2013 indicates that the front entry contained a storm door with a single leaf wood door that appears to have an upper glazed panel window with 2 or 3 horizontal panels. No information on the rear door style was identified and is similar to the photo that was included in the materials packet. Work item 4, in-kind cedar shake replacement. The existing cedar shake siding is severely deteriorated and many portions are missing. The application states that the structure has been wrapped in Tyvek plastic covering to protect the exposed framing. The applicants propose to remove the damaged shakes and to replace with new 18-inch by 3.5-inch to 12-inch cedar shake shingles in the color Alaskan yellow. The work will also include the installation of new plywood sheathing and a vapor barrier. Work item number 5, windows. The existing windows are currently boarded up but can be seen from the interior with a mix of wood styles, wood and vinyl 6/6 double hung sashes. Some appear to be previous replacements as the window openings have been made smaller. The applicant requests to replace all existing windows but does not provide a style. The replacements are to be double hung wood clad with a white grid on the interior and exterior. And staff would like to clarify if this means simulated divided lights. The application notes that the applicants are waiting on estimates from Marvin and Pella, and the Marvin estimates were provided in your material packet. Work item 5 for the well and septic installation. Application mentions the installation of a well and septic system. However, no further information was provided, and staff would like to note that well and septic are unfortunately outside of the footprint of the house and are not eligible for the tax credit program. Work item 7, gutters and downspouts. The house currently does not have any gutters or downspouts on the main roof and porch. The applicant requests to install gutters on the main roof and porch. So, staff's recommendation to the LPC is to review the proposal and determine if it meets our guidelines or if they need more information in order to review it, and recommends the following conditions: that windows be replaced in kind, matching existing 6/6 style and fit the dimensions of the original openings, which simulated divided lights or true divided light. Windows should not be clad in vinyl or aluminum, should not be used. Windows specs and estimates must be provided to staff prior to the start of work. For the door replacement, a partial glazed door with horizontal wood panels or similar style be used as the replacement, either a new door or reclaimed door from the early 20th century to fit the dimensions of the existing opening. The door style and specs or images must be submitted to staff prior to the start of work. K-style or half-round gutters may be used. The gutter selection must be shared with staff prior to the start of work, and contractor itemized estimates must be submitted to staff prior to the start of work for our application tax credit instructions. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 2, Windows and Doors, Chapter 3, Roofs, Chapter 4, Exterior Walls and Foundations, and Chapter 5, Porches and Steps, County Code Section 11-2-201 and 32-7-405. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant present? And if so, would they like to address some of the staff questions?
Yes, Miss Georgia Zevros, I have you unmuted if there's anything you'd like to add.
Hi, so I guess I'll just jump into what I jotted down first, would be the front porch and steps. I have marked down that if the whole thing would be removed. I do believe at this point, unless we're able to salvage some part of the ceiling part of it that's not rotted, to salvage it and put it back in when we rebuild, but it would be the same style that's there. Pressure treated would be yes, or would do pine pressure treated wood. anything else specific? I started jotting down as you were reading, but if anyone has any specific questions, I'll take it.
In one of the photos, it looked like the building, the side elevation, it looked like the building had already fallen down. Is that just an optical illusion in the photo?
I think
That
it's
one.
yeah,
That one.
yeah, we've actually had a couple people come out, and we've had two companies come out of Pennsylvania, Mountain Vernon Builders, and also Staple Hollow, and
Yeah,
they
that one.
no, the foundation's fine. They looked at it. There's a half inch of sagging that's happening. And we, for interior purposes, we did go and get them to come out and look at that because the footers are held up by cinder block inside the basement. And we've just gotten a price for them to come out and replace that. But the foundation's fine, and there's only a half inch of sagging that's happening from front to back. But it is covered in vine, and there is settling from the dirt around the home. But it is sturdy. We've walked up and down, and that's where we are with that.
Yeah, the photo on the right makes
Yeah.
it look like it had rotated a foot or two.
Yes.
Yeah, no. There's no water in the basement. We were shocked, even with all the snow. There's no water in the basement, nothing. Yeah, so it's good.
Just an optical illusion of the photograph.
Yeah.
If I could add, quite apart from the things you're talking about, but as a point of interest,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you, if you take the porch off or the decking off the porch,
Mm-hmm.
to get down in that ground underneath and poke around. I lived in an old home of similar vintage, actually, probably predated it by 30 or 40 years. Found all sorts of great stuff, all little toys that kids had thrown under there, some old newspapers. It adds a lot of interest to the home if you find
Yeah,
things
we'll
like
definitely
that.
go. Yeah, we'll definitely have two little boys, so we'll definitely be digging out in front to check out and see what kind of treasures we can find.
Okay, are there other questions for the applicant from the commissioners? I think staff had some questions about the doors.
Yeah, so I did get back from I think the company's name is Forbes, and they have Marvin Windows, and they're a distributor for Masonite. So I'll go ahead and forward over their proposal for the doors as well for Masonite doors.
Just to toss out some questions with some of the questions that were brought up. So in work item 2, the front porch and steps, you've addressed some of them, but
Yeah.
porch railings, rebuilding the steps, type of porch floorboards, tongue and groove.
Yeah.
Just if we request any more additional information to be brought back, these are some of the questions that came up. I believe you had mentioned it would be pressure treated
Yes.
lumber in there. And then you're going to try to salvage what you could possibly part of the ceiling. But those are some of the things that we would want to see if we requested more information to come back.
Okay. Yes. So
Okay.
full specs for materials to be used for the front porch, right?
Yeah, and for Windows product information for item number 5.
So is that shop draw up from Marvin, not enough? I'm sorry, it's my first time, so.
Yeah,
it's-
that was added late in the application, Dan, so you may not.
Okay, so it is addressed.
Yeah, that did get
Yeah,
addressed
yeah.
yesterday.
Some of the materials got to us after we'd already written our
Thank you
staff
for
report.
that too. I appreciate it.
Okay, is there any written testimony or members of the public who wish to speak on this application?
No, we did not have any submitted testimony or registered speakers for this item.
Okay, so commissioners, would you, Anyone have any other items that they wish to discuss before making a motion?
For me, like work order 1, work order 4, work order 7 seem to be pretty clear and straightforward. I don't know if it's logical to have everything approved all together, or if we can approve some of the work orders and say, hey, and then come back with more information for like the porch and stuff like that. But 1, 4, and 7 seemed clear cut with the gutters and everything else.
Are you wishing to turn that into a motion following the staff recommendation that those details be approved and shared with staff prior to the work?
I can, unless any other commissioners have any other input to put in. I don't mind making it a motion if it'll bring more discussion.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to mention, I think the door you had mentioned was possibly masonite, which indicates a composite, and I think that you would want a solid wood door there. If that's
Okay.
Yeah, the staff recommendation was for a door replacement, a partial glazed door with horizontal wood panels or similar style to be used as a replacement, either a new door or reclaimed door from the early 20th century to fit the dimension of the existing opening. Door style and specs or images must be submitted to staff prior to start of work.
Yeah,
I think it might make sense to view this in its totality, that rather than giving, unless there's something that's an imminent problem that they're needing to do almost emergency repairs. I think just seeing everything all at once would probably be useful, just to make sure that it all ties together.
There's no emergency.
So could we make a motion, Phoebe, and see if this one fits?
Okay.
I move that we approve the application in its entirety, subject to final approval by staff for some of the details that need further detail, like the doors, the windows, and let staff guide them through it.
Yeah, gutters were also mentioned in the staff
Gutters,
recommendation. Okay.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I actually just had a question, if it's okay to ask. As far as the well and septic, would I just do a normal application to do that, not part of the tax document application?
Does this have a setting, Jessica?
It does.
Yeah, there's a set.
If it's like below grade and you're
Mhm.
digging and you're gonna infill it, as long as it looks the same afterwards, I would just, I don't know, if Jessica's the archaeologist, so she might have some comments about digging to put in well and septic. But other than that, if it's already, I know the site doesn't have a lot of it, other stuff on it. If it's just going to be covered over and you're putting,
Mhm.
grass seed like that,
Right.
wouldn't have to come before.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, with that, could we have our vote with Chris Weston, please?
Yes.
Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Wendy, you.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
you're good. Thanks, Wendy. Ed, please.
Yes.
Chris Parts,
yes.
Vince,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please. Great, thank you.
Okay. I believe that is all of our cases on the agenda. Staff, are there any additional items to discuss?
Yes, we did have two properties that received a Part 2 approval for tax credits that came in with state approval. The first was the Broadmead Inc. Holly Hill property at 13801 York Road in Sparks, and they received Part 2 approval for exterior and interior rehabilitations. They're within County Council District Number 3. And then just today, we had the Engle property at 704 Kingston Road in Towson. This is a contributing resource within the Stoneleigh National Register Historic District, and they received Part 2 approval for the replacement of an electric water heater and thermostat, and they're within County Council District Number 6.
Okay, thank you. Is there other business?
Yes, just to let all of the commissioners know, unfortunately, so the code house, which was added to the preliminary landmark list in 2019, and this was probably before some of our new commissioners were on the commission. So it's been on, for about 6 years. I had its county council public hearing in October. Council did not introduce legislation within the 90-day timeline, which is outlined in our code. And so unfortunately, after those 90 days, all of the protections are revoked and the property is removed from our preliminary landmarks list, and it cannot be nominated again for 3 years other than the property owner. So unfortunately, that house has been removed off. And I believe this is the second time that that's happened to this property. So I just wanted to let you all be aware of that change. Other than that, and if anybody has any questions about that, you guys can email me. I know it's late about that process, especially for some of our new commissioners. But other than that, our next meeting is March 13th.
Okay, thank you. Seeing as there's no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Or if there's any other comments or questions that the commissioners have.
I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm assuming no. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Well done, Phoebe.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks,
Right.
Tom.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.